Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube channel of BeingACCA. This is Tushita Gupta, ACCA affiliate, and in this video we are continuing with our PM pre-June mock debrief. So we have now reached towards the very first case study that we have for section C. This is a proper constructed response question. So whenever you have a 20-marker question, it's good that you first read the requirement so that when you are reading the long case study, you know what you're looking for. So first, I see that it's a 9-marker requirement for me to prepare a profit table showing all possible profits. So maybe they are undertaking something and they want, different profits that will be there in different outcomes. So let's read the question. Glory Consultancy Company, the company, is a professional consultancy firm that provides consultation on accounting and taxation issues to clients, which are mainly the small and medium-sized enterprises. One of the signature services being organizing seminars pertaining to tax updates at a third-party venue on a rental basis. The seminar will be conducted by external speaker and the invited speakers will be depending on their availability. So given a proposed change in the tax regulation, the company is planning to host a seminar on it in 6 months' time. It is planned to be held at the seminar room in one of the reputable hotels. The hotel provides a quotation for 3 types of room size with the charges that are non-refundable. Type A for 100 seats, Type B for 200 seats, and Type C for 300 seats, and these are the prices respectively. So it is the hotel policy that rental of all seminar rooms must be reserved at least 4 months in advance with the full payment made. However, given the busy schedule of all the potential speakers, the speaker who will be conducting the seminar can only be confirmed after the reservation of the seminar room. The number of participants enrolled onto the seminar is much depending on the popularity of the speaker. Based on the past experience, there will be 3 groups of potential speakers to be invited: Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and only one speaker will be selected from those who show interest in conducting the seminar. The company anticipates the enrollment numbers based on the 3 tiers of speakers are either 300 participants, 200 participants, and 100 participants respectively. The following are some of the other relevant information pertaining to the seminar. So the seminar fee to be charged per participant is $250. Printing cost per participant is $50. Part-time wages is $800 per staff. No part-time staff are required if Type A or Type B room is rented. If Type C room is rented, however, 4 part-time staff are needed. So this is how they have given you what other costs are going to look like with different participants that will be there in the seminar. So we have to prepare a profit table showing all of the possible outcomes. So basically my profit table is going to have 9 outcomes in total. There are 3 number of speakers that can be there, and then there are 3 types of room charges which are available with us. So what we can do over here is we can prepare a rough draft and then do the workings. So profit table is going to look like, first let's put the Type A, Type B, and Type C, and let's also put the speakers over here: Tier 1 speaker, Tier 2 speaker, and Tier 3 speaker. So this is a rough draft of my table. I'll be putting in the values in 9 cells that I have empty over here. Now let us do the workings for the same. How are we going to work out what is going to be there in the entire table? So first, let us find out for each of the 3 types of rooms, what are going to be the charges in which case. So if I talk about a Tier 1 speaker, firstly, for a Tier 1 speaker, let us go again firstly with the different types of charges that there are. So if I talk about the seminar fees, so seminar fees per participant. So if I have a Tier 1 speaker, So tier 1 speaker is going to have, $250 per speaker is the charge. So 250 multiplied by, if I have a tier 1 speaker, I am expecting to have how many participants? If I take type A, which is 100 seats, so I will have 100 as the number of participants. Similarly, 250 is the charge here, but now with the tier 1 speaker, maximum can be 300, but because of the rooms that I will be reserving, I can maximum have 200 people. So multiplied by 200, this gives me my seminar fees that I will be receiving if it is a type B reservation that I make. Then let's talk about the type C reservation. Type C, I will charge 250 and then multiply that by the number of seats which are there, which is 300. So I multiply this by 300, 75,000 is what my seminar fees is going to look like if I have a tier 1 speaker. Now, if I talk about a tier 2 speaker, what is my seminar fees going to look like? When it comes to type A, again, I'm holding only 100 seats. So 100 multiplied by 250 is what my charge is going to look like. When I talk about type B, I have a reservation for 200 people. And over here also, it is mentioned that if a tier 2 speaker comes, then 200 will be the number of participants. So my apologies, 250 over here. 250 multiplied by 200. And then last but not the least, if I take the type C kind of a room, but then my maximum is capped at 200 because it is my so if I have a tier 2 speaker, 200 is the maximum number of participants that are going to be there. So this multiplied by 250 is what is going to be my seminar fees received from these many people. Now, again, if I have a tier 3 speaker, with the tier 3 speaker, how much is my seminar fees going to look like? Tier 3 speaker, I will only be able to have 100 participants. So no matter what kind of a room I take, 100 is the maximum number of people who will be coming to the seminar. So 100 multiplied by 250, which is the fees for every participant. So it will be the same in all of the cases, because with a tier 3 speaker, only 100 people are going to come to the seminar. Now, this was the calculation regarding seminar fees. There are two more calculations which we need pertaining to printing cost and then pertaining to the part-time wage. So this was about seminar fees. Now let us do it with respect to the printing cost per participant. Printing cost per participant, again we can put the figures from here, whatever we have taken as the number. 100 is the number here. So 100 multiplied by 50. Over here my number was 200 multiplied by 50, and here my number was 300 multiplied by 50. So this is what my printing cost is going to look like if I have a tier 1 speaker. Now talking about a tier 2 speaker. So what is it going to look like? When I have a tier 2 speaker, my maximum is going to be capped at 200 participants, but with type A category, I can only have 100 guests. So 100 multiplied by 50 gives me my cost for the first case. Second case, I can have a total of 200 people coming to the seminar. So 200 multiplied by 50. And then even if you take the type C, because it is a tier 2 speaker, so the maximum number of people who are going to show up are 200 multiplied by 50. So these are what your costs are going to look like if you have a tier 2 speaker. Now talking about a tier 3 speaker, so then your printing cost is going to look like, in over here your maximum can go up to when you have a tier 3 speaker, only 100 is the number of people who are going to attend. So it's going to remain the same in all of the cases. Because if you have a tier 3 speaker, no more than 100 people are going to attend the seminar. This being done, now we are only left with the last type of cost, which is going to be your part-time wages. So part-time wages, let's first talk about tier 1 speaker. Part-time wages. So if we have a tier 1 speaker and we go for a type A kind of a room, no part-time staff are required basically if you have a type A or type B room. So no charges over here. However, if you take a C, then you have 4 people that you're going to be needing. So over here, you will multiply 4 with per person cost, that is 800. So you have 3200 as the cost. Similarly, we'll talk about the other speakers as well. So if you have a tier 2 speaker, your part-time wages again are going to be this, basically you can say can be the same in all of the cases. So you can copy paste this. And even if you want to omit these workings, you can do so because it's going to remain the same in all of the cases. Then if you have a tier 3 speaker, your part-time wages are going to be the same as here. Right. So this is what your part-time wages are going to look like. Now, with this being done, we are primarily, in a position to have a figure for our overall table. So in our overall table, when I have a type A room and I have, tier 1 speaker coming in. So first and foremost, I have a seminar fees, which I will be collecting from the people, which is $25,000. Then I will also be paying the room charges. So how can I find out the room charges? It's going to be, it's given over here. 9,000 are going to be the room charges. So subtracting that. And then I'm going to also have to subtract the printing cost. So let's go down and see what was the printing costs. Printing cost in the first case over here we have worked out to be 5,000. And then do we have any part-time wages? No. So we can link it from here that it is going to be 0. So with this you arrive at 11,000 for your tier 1 speaker. Now similarly we can go to type B with the speaker. So first you have the seminar fees of $50,000. Then you subtract the room charges. So the room charges when you go for type B is 15,000. So you put that here minus any of your printing costs. So let's see what the printing cost has been worked out as. So it's 10,000 over here, and then I think no part-time wages. So you can link it here, and this is what you will get as your answer. Moving ahead to type C, with type C, this is what your revenue is going to look like, minus the charges that you pay, which is 19,000, minus, let's go for the printing cost as well. So the printing cost is going to look like this. And then from this, I also need to subtract my overtime, part-time wages to the staff. So this is going to be 37,800. Similarly, this working is going to be carried for all of your types. Again, I have a 25,000 here. Again, my charges are 9,000, and I will subtract the printing charges. Printing charges are here 5,000, and then I subtract a 0. So this figure over here, and with this I have my final answer again as 11,000. Let's complete this row itself first. So this is the revenue here, minus 9,000, which is the cost, minus the printing cost, this one, and then minus 0 again. So 11,000 is what you will get for this one also. Let's move to type B now. For type B, this is what my revenue are going to look like with the, with a tier 2 speaker, this is what my revenues are going to look like. This is $50,000. Then I subtract the charges, which is 15,000, minus the printing material, which is 10,000, and minus 0. So with this, I'm done with this calculation here. Now for type B tier 3, this is what I have, minus the room charges, which is 15,000. And then I also subtract any printing costs. So we are presently at type B, and the very last calculation, minus 15,000 minus this value over here, and then minus a 0 from here. So with this, we arrive at 5,000 as the profit if we go for the type B rooms and tier 3 speaker. And then if I talk about type C, this is what my revenue is, subtracting the room charges. So for type C, the room charges are mentioned to be 19,000 over here. So I subtract 19,000 minus what are going to be my printing costs. So this is my printing cost, and then minus any overtime. So I'm paying an overtime of 3,200, sorry, the part-time staff. Last but not the least, here is the revenue minus my cost, room cost, and then minus any of the printing cost. So this is what my printing cost is going to look like, minus printing cost 5,000, and then minus the part-time staff salary. So if you hit enter, you will have a loss of $2,200 over here. So this is what your profit table is going to look like. You can format it a little bit. You can highlight, put a table around this. So go to border, select any of the borders, select all of these over here, click OK, and then you will have a table proper formatting for your table. So this is the entire requirement answered for 9 marks. This may have, looked complex, but it's a very simple, easy to do calculation. Moving ahead, you have to determine the recommended type of seminar room that should be reserved using each of the following decision rules. Firstly, you need to use the maxi-max decision rule. Secondly, you need to use the maxi-min decision rule. And thirdly, you need to use the mini-max regret. So these are all of the decision rules that you're supposed to be using over here. So let us go back to the table that we have constructed, and then we should be, giving our answers over here. So let us go back to what we have created here. According to the maximax rule, you have to maximize the maximum contribution. So if you have a look at type A, maximum is 11,000. Type B, maximum is 25,000. But for type C, you have a maximum of 37,800. So according to the maximax rule, you should be using type C seminar room. So according to Maximax, you will use type C seminar room should be reserved. So this is what you will mention over here. And then for maxi-min, let us go back again. Out of the minimum ones, you have to go for the maximum. So again, if you go for the minimum 11,000 for type A, you have to select from the minimum the maximum value. So minimum is 11,000, minimum is 5,000, and then minimum is 2,200. So out of all of these minimum values, 11,000, 5,000, and 2,200, you will have the maximum minimum value at type A, which is 11,000. So you will say over here, according to the maxi-min rule, type A seminar room, so you can copy paste this much from here, should be reserved. So this is what your answer should look like. Now, last but not the least, talking about the mini-max regret rule. So let us go back to the table and calculate the regret. So this is what our table looks like over here. So if I try to calculate the regret out of it, let me just copy paste these values at the bottom. if I just paste the values over here, okay, it does not work this way here. So 11,000, 25, 25 and 5. 25,000, 25,000 and then 5,000. And then you have 37,800, 17,800, 37,800, 17,800, and then minus 2,200. So this is what your values are looking like over here. So if you try to find out the maximum, maximum regret, you have to find out, and that needs to be minimized. So let's see what will be the maximum regret in each of the cases. Firstly, this is my maximum output, maximum outcome. So this minus this is the regret here. This minus this is the regret here, and this minus this is the regret here. So over here my regret will be 0 because I will be earning the maximum possible. Now in this case, this is the maximum that I have. So the difference is my regret. Over here I will have no regret because I will be earning maximum. And then in the last case, the difference again is going to give me my regret. Now, among these values, my maximum is 11,000. So over here, my regret is going to be 0. This minus this is going to be my regret here. And then this minus this is going to be my regret over here. So now that I have all of my regrets, this is for type A, B, and C, and these are tier 1, 2, and 3 speakers. So where do I have the minimum regret? So over here, if I pick the maximum is 26,800, 12,800, and 13,200. So I basically have to minimize my maximum regret. So the most minimum value is there with 12,800. So this is why I will be selecting type B seminar room. So minimax regret will give me type B seminar room should be reserved. Right? So this is how you will answer this requirement. Now we move ahead to requirement C. This is a 6-marker requirement based on the scenario of Glory Consultancy Company. Explain the rationale of each of the decision rule above with the indication of the likely risk appetite. So basically the 3 decision rules which have been asked previously, you have to explain, how much of a risk appetite do each of them have. And then for 1 mark, you have to briefly explain which rule Glory Consultancy Company should use for the seminar reservation, assuming none of the speakers can give a confirmation on their availability until 1 month before the seminar. So if you firstly talk about the very first part, this is part C and the first one at that. So there are 3 decision rules that were asked in the previous slide: maxi max, maxi min, and then mini max regret. So you will explain over here how the maxi-max rule is basically the decision rule which aims to maximize your maximum profit. So accordingly, what we found out, the type C seminar should be reserved because it leads to the maximum possible profit if your tier 1 speaker is conducting the seminar with 300 participants to register. So this one maxi max is actually reflecting the risk seeking or the optimistic attitude, right? A risk seeker is the person who is basing his decisions on maxi max rule. Now if I talk about the maxi min rule, basically this is the rule where you are aiming to maximize the minimum profit. So this is a person who is risk averse, who is also a pessimist, who's a pessimistic person. And over here, this person is an optimistic person. All right, so according to Maximin, type A seminar rule should be reserved because it will be possible to have the maximum profit if the tier 3 speaker is speaking with only 100 participants that will be registering. Now, if you talk about the mini-max regret is actually for a person who, is risk averse and again has a pessimistic attitude. So you can say that the risk appetite of mini-max regret and, maximin are more or less the same. So basically, the mini-max regret person is a sore loser. This person does not like to lose out on money. That is why he is minimizing the maximum regret that he can have. So you will say that you, under this rule, you minimize the maximum regret, the opportunity lost. So accordingly, type B seminar has been decided. Now, this is how you will answer for 6 marks. First, you will explain the rule, then you will say which type have you selected and why, and then you will tell about the risk appetite. So this is how you will obtain the 6 marks which are available here. And then if you move on to the second part basically wants you to briefly explain which one they should be doing, assuming no one can give you a confirmation. So this decision ideally should be based on minimax regret, because this is what works in a very highly uncertain situation. So if you base your decision on this, it is likely that less optimum decision is made, and the decision made under such rule minimizes your opportunity lost. So the business should be, Glory Consultancy Company should be using the mini-max regret, because it is a highly uncertain outcome. And over here, this method will minimize the maximum of lost opportunity. All right. So this is how you will answer this question. With this, we are done with the very first CRQ of your PM pre-June mock exam. In the next video, we are going to be finishing the other one as well. With that, we will be, inching towards the end of the pre-June mock exam. I hope that this video has been useful, and I will see you in the next one.